Hello students, this is your economics teacher INR. I hope you are well and utilizing the time wisely. In the previous class, you learned about second chapter national income. Today, you are going to learn about third chapter theories of employment and income. Firstly, we will discuss about the meaning of full employment, unemployment and its types, classical theory of employment and JP says law of market. Please watch this video very carefully till the end. I am going to ask you a few questions from previous class. Question number 1. What are various methods of measuring national income? Question number 2. Give short note on expenditure method. Question number 3. Write briefly about social and environmental cost. Question number 4. What is PQLI? Okay, answer for the question. Question number 1. What are various methods of measuring national income? There are three methods of measuring national income. First method, production or value added method. Second, income method or factor earning method. Third, expenditure method. Question number 2. Give short note on expenditure method. In this method, we add up the expenditure of all people on consumer goods, investment and saving. Question number 3. Write briefly about social and environmental cost. While producing economic goods, many environmental and social bads are also generated. Hence, they also must be considered while enumerating national income. Question number 4. What is PQLI? It is a measure to calculate the quality of life or well-being of a country. Fine. Let us enter into the third chapter, theories of employment and income. First, we will discuss the meaning of full employment. Okay, what is meant by full employment? Student, take the page number 37. Introduction. The economic history has shown many countries facing economic problems. Out of these problems, unemployment is most vexing. The classical economist had great faith in law of market articulated by J.P. Say, the French economist. J.M. Keynes is one of the greatest and most influential economists of the mid-20th century. First, meaning of full employment. Full employment refers to a situation in which every able-bodied person who is willing to work at the prevailing wage rate is employed. According to Keynes, full employment as the absence of involuntary unemployment. Lerner defines full employment as that level of employment at which any further increase in spending would result in an inflationary spiral of wages and prices. What is meant by inflationary spiral? A continuous rise in prices that is sustained by the tendency of wage increases and cost increases to react on each other. Generally, full employment refers to a situation in which all the workers who are capable of working and willing to work get an employment at reasonable wages. Secondly, you are going to learn about unemployment and its types. Please take the page number 38. Unemployment and its types. Unemployment is problem faced when there are people who are willing to work and able to work but cannot find suitable jobs. India rural economy has both unemployment and underemployment. The major features of rural unemployment is the existence of unemployment in the form of disguised unemployment and seasonal unemployment. Unemployment estimate in India India's unemployment rate shoot up 14.8% to reach 23.5% in the month of April, much higher than 8.7% reported in the previous month. After over 5 weeks of coronavirus lockdown, India's unemployment rate shoot up 14.8% to reach 23.5% in the month of April, much higher than 8.7% reported in the previous month. According to data released by think tank Center for Monitoring Indian Economy CMIE on Friday. Friday means 1st May 2020. The CMIE survey was started in 2016 and since then the April's unemployment rate of 23.5% is the highest ever. The unemployment rate in urban India stood up 24.95%, while in rural India it was 22.89%. State-wise unemployment rate differed widely. Highest unemployment rate of 75.8% was recorded in Puducherry, followed by 49.8% in Tamil Nadu, 47.1% in Jharkhand, 46.6% in Bihar, and 43.2% in Haryana. The lowest unemployment rate of 2.2 was recorded in Himachal Pradesh, followed by Sikkim 2.3%, Punjab 2.9%, Chhattisgarh 3.4%, Telangana 6.2%, and Uttarakhand 6.5%. Meanwhile, during the last week of March and in the first 2 weeks of April, the unemployment rate hovered around 23 to 24%. In the first week, it was 23.8%. In the second week, it dropped a bit to 23.4%. But in the third week, it was bounced back to 24%. India's unemployment rate rose to 26.2% in the third week of April, according to CMIE data. The national lockdown did not just throw 72 million out of the labor force, but it also drove another 85 million to some kind of a dispersion to look for jobs in the midst of a national lockdown when none were available. The dispersion suggests that people were highly vulnerable to a loss of livelihoods caused by the national lockdown. Magesh Vyas, Managing Director and CEO, CMIE, had recently said in report. Next, you are going to learn about types of unemployment. The following are the types of unemployment. First, unemployment, cyclical unemployment. Second, seasonal unemployment. Third, frictional unemployment. Fourth, educated unemployment. Fifth, technical unemployment. Sixth, structural unemployment. And the last one, disguised unemployment. First, unemployment, cyclical unemployment. In a business cycle, during the period of recessions and depression, income and output fall, leading to widespread unemployment. It is caused by deficiency of effective demand. Cyclical unemployment can be cured by public investment or expansionary monetary policy. Okay, what is meant by business cycle? The business cycle, also known as the economic cycle or trade cycle, is the downward and upward movements of gross domestic product around its long-term growth trend. Second, unemployment, seasonal unemployment. This type of unemployment occurs during certain seasons of the year. In agriculture and agro-based industries like sugar production, activities are carried out only in some seasons. These industries offer employment only during that season in a year. Therefore, people may remain unemployed during the off-season. Third, unemployment, frictional unemployment or temporary unemployment. Frictional unemployment arises due to imbalances between supply of labor and demand for labor. This is because of immobility of labor, lack of necessary skills, breakdown of machinery, shortage of raw material, etc. Fourth, unemployment, educated unemployment. Sometimes educated people are underemployed or unemployed when qualification does not match the job. Faulty education system, lack of employable skills, mass student turnout and preference for white collar jobs are highly responsible for educated unemployment in India. Fifth, unemployment, technical unemployment or technological unemployment. Modern technology, being capital intensive, requires less laborers and contributes to technological unemployment. Nowadays, Invention and innovation lead to the adoptions of new techniques, thereby the existing workers are retrenched. Sixth one, structural unemployment. Structural unemployment is due to drastic changes in the structures of the society, lack of demand for the product or shift in demand to other product cause this type of unemployment. For example, rise in demand for mobile phone has adversely affected the demand for cameras, tape recorders, etc. Last unemployment, disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment occurs when more people are there than what is actually required. Even if some workers are withdrawn, production does not suffer. This type of unemployment is found in agriculture. Thirdly, we will discuss classical theory of employment. Adam Smith 1723 to 1790, Thomas Malthus 1766 up to 1834, David Ricardo 1772 up to 1823, and Jean-Baptiste Say 1767 up to 1832 were the most prominent classical economists. Their thinking on the macroeconomic issues such as income and employment has mostly been shaped by their time and circumstances of 18th and 19th centuries. Please take the page number 40. Classical theory of employment. Classical economists assumed that the economy operates at the level of full employment without inflation in the long period. They also assumed that wages and the prices of goods were flexible and the competitive market existed in the economy or laissez-faire economy. What is meant by laissez-faire economy? Laissez-faire is an economic system in which transaction between private parties are absent of any form of government intervention such as regulation and subsidies. Last topic, you are going to learn about Say's law of market. Say's law of market is the core of the classical theory of employment. J.P. Say 1776 up to 1832 was a French economist and an industrialist. He was influenced by the writings of Adam Smith and David Ricardo. J.P. Say initiated the proposition that supply creates its own demand. Hence, there cannot be general overproduction or the problem of unemployment in the economy. According to J.P. Say, when goods are produced by firms in the economy, they pay reward to the factors of production. The household, after receiving rewards of the factors of production, spend the amount on the purchase of goods and service produced by them. Therefore, each product produced in the economy creates demand equal to its value in the market. Assumptions of Say's law of market. Student, please take the page number 41. First assumption, no single buyer or seller of commodity or an output or input can affect the price. Second, full employment. Third, people are motivated by self-interest and self-interest determines economic decisions. Fourth one, the laissez-faire policy is essential for an automatic and self-adjusting process of full employment equilibrium. Fifth one, there will be a perfect competition in labor and product market. Sixth assumption, there is wage price flexibility. Seventh one, money act only as medium of exchange. Eighth one, long run analysis. Ninth one, there is no possibility for overproduction or unemployment. Tenth assumption, unutilized resources used until reaches full employment. 11th one, government intervention, automatic price adjustment mechanism operated. 12th assumption, interest rate flexibility leads in savings investment equality. Next subtopic, implications of Say's law. Implication or effects of Say's law. First implication, there is no possibility for overproduction or unemployment. Second implication, If there exist unutilized resources in the economy, it is profitable to employ them up to the point of full employment. Third implication, an automatic price mechanism operates in the economy. There is no need for government intervention. Fourth implication, interest flexibility brings about equality between savings and investment. Fifth implication, money performs only the medium of exchange function in the economy, as people will not hold idle money. Criticism of Say's law. Keynes has clearly exposed the weakness of Say's law. In 1936, Keynes brought about a revolution in economic theory attacking Say's law. In 1930s, Great Depression and its effects showed that the classical theory of employment was wrong and its foundation. The Say's law was unacceptable. Keynes launched a vigorous attack on the Say's law. The main points of criticism of the law are: first criticism, Great Depression made Say's law unpopular. Second, all incomes earned are not always spent on consumption. Third, similarly, whatever is saved is not automatically invested. Fourth, the law was based on wrong analysis of market. Fifth one, it suffered from the fallacy of aggregation. Sixth, aggregate supply and aggregate demand are not always equal. Seventh one, rate of interest is not the equilibrium factor. Eighth one, capitalist system is not self-adjusting always. Ninth one, perfect competition is an unrealistic assumption. 10th, money is a dominant force in the economy. 11th, the law is applicable only for long period. 12th, Say's law hold goods only in the border economy. Say's law has no validity and use now. Critics point out, however, the classical theory relied on Say's law to assure that there would always be full employment as a result of equality between aggregate demand and aggregate supply. In short, there cannot be deficiency of aggregate demand. Even if there is any unemployment, the market mechanism would restore full employment. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Finish the assignment by clicking the link below. Thank you very much.